change if you're a SOC analyst or if you're responsible triaging logs that may be a threat. So without further ado, let me share my screen and we'll get into the presentation. Can everybody see the presentation? Okay, I'm going to assume you can. So again, it's from detection to you taking action from 45 minutes to 15 minutes. And you're going to leverage Agentic AI, and it's going to help you respond to cyber threats in real time. You can use this system in ChatGPT, in Claude, whatever your flavor of Agentic AI tool you want to use, it works in any. Today, I'm going to be using ChatGPT. So the response gap, here's some numbers that you guys need to remember as I put this presentation together. Your security teams, and if you're involved in the budget, you know you invest billions in detection technologies. You have SIEM platforms, you have EDR solutions, you have threat intelligent feeds. And what have we done since putting all those tools in our environment? We have generated mountains of alerts for our SOC analysts to go through and try to figure out which ones are the most pertinent, and they spend most of their time, and that's why we have a lot of burnout right now in SOC analysts. But detection without rapid intelligent response is like having a smoke detector with no sprinkler system. We've created all these responses, but we've slowed down our response because we have to go through those mountains of logs. So they say 287 is the days of average that from detection to containment of a breach. 287 days. That's almost a full year. Can your business sustain an outage that lasts almost a full year? 500 plus daily alerts. That's per SOC analyst to investigate and triage. 500 plus logs. 70% alerts are ignored. And they're not ignored because people aren't doing their job. They're ignored because of the mountain of alerts they're getting. Never gets investigated due to the volume overload. We've mastered the detection, but we're drowning in the response. So those are the numbers. So why does it not work? Why do the traditional automated fall short? You bought this tool, so why is it failing? So for years, security teams have relied on rule-based automation, playbooks to handle repetitive response tasks. We've been in an automated world. These systems, if you know anything about automation, it's an if, then else. It's programmed. If this happens, then take this action. There's no logic behind it. And if it goes off rails and it doesn't fit that if, then else logic, it fails. So here's an example, rule-based automation. If alert contains PowerShell and parent is Outlook, then isolate the host. That automation tool is only going to do that over and over and over and over again. If anything does not fit in that statement, it's going to fail. So here comes Agentic AI. Here's a statement. This PowerShell execution from Outlook is suspicious because of evasion flags and techniques. Given this is a finance host with M&A access and sensitive data permissions, I assess high priority and recommend immediate isolation with executive notification. So we've gone from rule-based logic to contextual reasoning that adapts and explains the why behind the decision, which will help you faster contain and also explain it to your executive level. So keep this in mind, a little play on words here. Playbooks play checkers. The agentic AI is playing chess. The traditional automation excels at speed, but fails at context. It can't understand that the same PowerShell command and routine on a developer workstation, but suspicious on an HR laptop. It can't weigh business impact, recognize novel attack patterns, or explain its reasoning. It was just programmed to look for if and then do something. So what's the anatomy of agentic response? So let's fast forward into the modern age. AI is here. It's here to stay. It's being put in all your tools. But you can also have prompts, and I'll show you in ChatGPT how you can use a custom GPT that I programmed that you can get in the store to help you out with this after the presentation. So think about modern instant response isn't a single action. It's a complex workflow that requires different capabilities at each stage. And you need to understand where AI excels versus where human judgment is essential. Please key into that. I am not here to advocate that you're going to put agentic AI in your environment and all the humans can go get coffee and the AI will take care of it. No, it's going to help you present context, but you, the human, still have to use the judgment on what to act on based on its recommendations. You are still in control. AI is just the tool in your hand. So let's start with the detection. Most detections are going to come out of a SIEM or an EDR or a firewall. It detects anomalies. It's automated. Now you need to triage it. Priority assessment, contents gathering, and this is where AI excels. So we went from automation, the next triage is AI. Now to investigate it, if you notice, it's AI plus the human. Log correlation and threat hunting. It still takes your fingers and your human judgment. Now, containment is tiered. You most likely have a team. You have some tiers according to your industry that you have to now act on for containment. Now, let's fix this problem. Okay. That's going to be human led. AI is not going to fix this for you. There's not a magic AI tool out there. If there's a vendor selling you an AI silver bullet, go pick a new vendor. It's human led, and the recovery is going to be human led. Now we got a reporting. This is where AI excels. It can build you an executive report on their language, but I would actually edit this slide again and say AI excels plus human because the AI is not going to be delivering this to your executive board. You are. So you're still going to have to read that report and make sure that what that report was built in your agentic AI agrees with what happened. The key insight, humans excel at judgment. Remember, AI is nothing but a pattern recognition. It can recommend, but it does not have judgment, feeling, or empathy. Humans excel at judgment calls and strategic business decisions. You are going to make that business decision. AI excels at speed, correlating all those logs, pattern recognition, like I said, and comprehensive documentation. The magic happens when we split those responsibilities and create a partnership where each handles what they do best. This is no different before AI when you joined a team. Every team member on that team had certain skill sets and expertise, but not one person was the expert on a good team. So you take all those team members with the different expertise, let them handle what they're experts at, and once it is put all together, you have a rock solid response. What makes AI agentic? Not all AI and security is created equal. There's simple machine learning models that classify threats based on patterns, but agentic AI takes it a step further. It reasons about context, adapts to novel situations, and collaborates with humans as a trust partner rather than a black box. You don't want to back a black box solution that you don't know what the reasoning is behind it and you don't have control of putting any input or have judgment. Do not buy a black box solution. So agentic, contextual reasoning. It understands why something is suspicious beyond simple pattern matching. Considers use role, asset criticality, business context, and threat landscape to match the nuance of the risk assessments. And you'll see this in our demo coming up. Adaptive response. It handles variations and novel attack techniques. It has never explicitly seen before without requiring new rules or signatures. So it needs new logs, new rules to recognize new patterns. Explainability. This is huge, especially in this year in governance. Whatever solution you use, you have to have explainability. That's why I'm against black box solutions. You have to know the reasoning and why it decided it. So your solution should show its work, confidence scores, reasoning chains, evidence considered, and caveats. It enables analysis to validate AI conclusions and build justified trust over time. It's no different than a new employee starts at your company. You have to build trust and rapport with your partner. Human collaboration knows when to act autonomously and when to escalate for human approval. Designated for partnerships, not replacement. It is not here to replace your SOC analyst. Do not be fooled by the claims that a NOC or a SOC has replaced all of its analysts because they rolled in agentic AI. Those are false claims and it's not sustainable. You need feedback loops. You need humans. An AI that says I'm 85% confident based on these indicators, but consider X caveat is far more useful than one that just acts with false certainty. You do not want false certainty when you're talking about triaging an incident in your company. All right, the moment you guys have been waiting for. Here's a live demo. I'm going to walk through this screen, then I'm going to kick it over to some other screens that you guys are going to be able to see me walk through this. It's a phishing attack. We need to triage it. We need containment recommendation. We need reporting. So what we're going to walk through is a realistic scenario with a SIEM log. It's a credential phishing campaign targeting finance team members. We're going to watch how agentic AI, ChatGPT, compresses what would typically be a 45-minute analyst workflow into minutes. I only have 45 minutes with you guys today, so I'm not going to do this over 45 minutes. It's going to take about 5 to 10 minutes to get through this. This is the power of agentic AI. The first thing we're going to do, we first have to give the agentic AI tool the alert. So we're going to take the log from our SIEM tool, and we're going to put it in ChatGPT, and it's going to process the alert. Then we're going to triage it. We're going to analyze the sender reputation, the link destination, user risk profiles. Now we have some log correlation to do. Are there other logs that have come behind the initial alert that we can put and update our tool to give more context to the tool? Then it's going to give us a response with recommended session termination, credential reset, and executive notification based on findings. And finally, we do all this work not only to fix the problem, but now we've got to report it to our executive team. So it's actually going to help us build the report. Total elapsed time, 15 minutes from initial alert to actionable recommendation. I say it could be 10 minutes as you get used to doing this. So I'm going to let AI handle the tedious correlation work, searching through millions of log entries, cross-referencing threat intelligence, and building timelines. Today I'm using ChatGPT, but as the tools mature, the modern SIEM tools most likely will have an agentic AI tool that will do this right in the tool, just to make sure that you have explainability inside whatever it returns. So let me come over here to first, what I have on the screen is our log. This is a SIEM log. It's a typical alert. As you can see, you have a alert ID. You tell it the source. This one actually is a log out of Microsoft Defender endpoint. It gives you the host name. It gives you a lot of information. And this is why SOC analysts are going crazy, because imagine this is just one log for today's demo. But what if we had 500 of these to go through, right? So this is where my 4 prompts come in. We have a prompt triage. You're an AI security operations assistant helping analyze and triage security alerts. I give the tool what I want it to do, 4 steps. I want to analyze the alerts. I want to assess true severity. I want to identify what needs immediate investigation. Here lays the manual problem. If you're getting 500 plus alerts a day and you don't have a tool, how do you know what to react to? Then map activity to the latest MITRE attack framework. And then you're going to tell it what it's going to do. And then we're going to get some, let me get this out of the way of Zoom real fast. So then we're going to ask it to correlate some more logs that we just got after our initial. I've got another seam log. It's got a little bit more detail on the event. It actually nails down the user, David Chin. And these are fictitious names, and I don't work for Acme Corp. So this is a demo log. So we're going to use that in our correlate step. And then as we were talking about, how do we respond to it? So there's a prompt to learn how to respond to it. And then I need a report to explain to my executive team why this happened, what did we do about it, actions taken, include a timeline. So that's our 4 prompts. But instead of watching me copy and paste at each step, you are in luck. Ahead of this, I created a custom GPT that's actually in the store in Chat GPT. You can search for seam triage. It's right here on the screen. And what I've done is I've compiled all 4 of those prompts to walk us through step by step, and you're going to see it in action. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this entire log here. And I'm going to bring it over here to my GPT. Just paste it right in there. And once I hit enter, it's that fast. So what it did first was it went back over here to this prompt and analyzed alerts. And now what it's working through is giving me exactly what I want. I want an assessment of true severity. I want a specific indicators. I want this attack chain likely represents and what you would investigate next. So let's go back over here to ChatGPT. It recognized the true severity as critical, escalated from medium, and then it tells you why it differs. And it tells you exactly the encoded PowerShell. And then it gives you the key indicators out of that log, excuse me, and why it matters for each step. So it breaks down exactly what the key indicators are. Attack chain assessment, likely scenario. It's a spear phishing email, which means it's going after a high end target in your company, most likely an executive, or maybe these users that we'll use later are VPs over finance, and they have certain access it wants. Then here's your MITRE attack mapping. And it gives you the ID of the MITRE attack exactly, so you can go if you want to go further with this. Evidence support assessment, it tells you exactly how it did it. Missing evidence. It wants a PS1 executed successfully. It doesn't know if it did that. Confidence high. Baseline deviations. Distraction or decoy check. Escalation check. It's telling you what you should do. Engage your IR team immediately. Preserve forensic image. Do not wait for further enrichment. So it's telling you this is a pretty serious thing. Response decisions. This is where the humans come in. You, human, have to take action. It will not do this for you. Human approval required. Disable user account. Enterprise-wide scan. Investigate first. These are all suggestions. Blast radius in the next 30 minutes if you don't do anything. Here's what could happen. And it moves into do nothing option. Then here's your audit trail. Confirm. Did you accept, reject, or modify the containment recommendations above? So it's going to build you an audit trail. Step 5, do you need an executive incident report? Now you can go to these 2 steps right now if you don't have any other logs. But luckily today, as this was processing, I got a new log I'm going to copy in so we can do the correlation step that I showed you earlier over here, where I'm going to provide it additional log information to either tighten this down for what I need to do. So again, I have a JSON seam log with additional details. So I'm going to copy this whole thing over there to chat. And you don't have to start a new chat. It knows if I copy more information in that it's going to, I'm trying to talk and copy at the same time. This is great. It knows to process this as well. So I'm going to copy this. This is our new log. I'm going to copy it over here to Chat GPT without me telling it anything. I'm going to hit enter. There you go. It automatically detected that immediate action escalation. It's confirmed. You have an active breach inside of your organization. It's telling you right now, engage the response team. You need to get your legal counsel, executive leadership, and potential regulatory notification. Do not continue routine triage flow now. This is containment mode. You're done. It knows what the logs are. You need to react, and the humans need to go contain this problem. So it gives you an updated analysis. Confidence is high. This is a problem. This is a confirmed confirmed attack. Excuse me. It's a phishing macro, meaning it's going to execute stuff within your domain. It tells you the execution encoded command, discovery, and as you come down here, you can keep coming down here. Blast radius, it tells you exactly what's going to happen in the next 30 minutes. Required immediate action. It tells you exactly the two accounts to disable now, Maria and David. Forced password resets for both. Then it tells you to revoke all Azure AD refresh tokens for those users, for all. Block IPs. Human approval required. Forced password reset for all privileged finance accounts. Good idea. So as you can tell, since you put more information in the chat, so now it comes to the end. You're done correlating. You want a one-page executive incident response, a shift handoff summary, a regulatory impact assessment on outline, a containment playbook checklist. So pick your flavor of what you need to do, right? So what we did now is we did our alert intake. We intaked our initial scene log. It did a triage. It gave us some information. We copied in more information, and you have a serious problem for these two users. And now you have the time to do an incident response. So I'm going to do number one. I'm just going to type in here one. That's all you got to do. It's going to type me an executive summary. And you can copy and paste this into your company header, or if you have a certain form, but this just gives you the context exactly. It's an incident, it's an active containment is in progress, because at this point you're not completely done yet, but the executive teams are up there tapping their fingers on their desks and they want something. Business impact, it's short and sweet. Then you've got an incident summary section. The payload, and it's got a nice timeline for executives to look like, okay, what time did it start? What happened? Actions taken, confirm which are complete before distribution. Recommended next steps, risk rating, decisions. Here's a key point for executives. What decisions do you need from leadership? Approval for organization-wide credential reset and potential downtime, engagement of external digital forensics and incident response. You as a SOC analyst, or maybe you're a director of the SOC, you don't want to be making these decisions in a vacuum. Because once you engage external resources and regulators, there's a whole can that opens up that you really need your legal and your leadership team engaged. What's your communication plan, both internally to your employees? But what if this actually ran for a little bit and now it's impacted data? Now you have customers that you have to notify. I had a personal experience at a company I worked for that there was an email that got through and it went through everybody's contacts, then forwarded that email on to other contacts. Luckily, we were able to contain it really fast, but what we had to do, we had to triage and figure out which emails went out to external customers versus just internally to the company. And we actually had to contact each customer and said, if you received an email from this person, this is not real, please delete it. We apologize. It was more formal, but we had to contact every one of our sales customers that email then copied to them. Confirm, is this report approved for executive distribution or do you want modifications? So it gives you a chance to refine the prompt. What if you want to go back up here and you didn't want a one-page executive? Let's just do you want a playbook? Let's do that. So again, this is all in one prompt. You don't have to create a new chat. It wants to use that information. So here's some checklist already. It tells you the box, the endpoint that you need to isolate. Actually, two. One is an executive and one was a finance worker. Here's the two emails that you need to disable, forced passwords. This is pretty nice to have a checklist, especially if, say you're the director and you want to hand it off to a SOC analyst or a team. So everybody's doing their part. So as you can see, agentic AI is very versatile. It cuts down time. If you had this checklist boilerplated in some book, some poor SOC analyst, after spending an hour trying to figure out what's going on, now has to pick up this playbook and go through, is this checklist applicable to this situation? Well, obviously this one is, because the agentic AI took the information out of your SIEM log and built one pertinent to that situation. So as I said, in ChatGPT, you can find that in the store. Let's do a new one here. New chat. So again, look for SIEM triage. Now, what I did was, just real quick, I do have some extra time, and we do have some more educational slides to go to after this demo. But inside my GPT, the instructions is, what I did was combined all these prompts that I showed you earlier, the triage prompt, the correlated prompt, the respond prompt. And I'll tell you how I did this. I took all four of these prompts and I put it in Chat GPT and said, help me build a triage GPT that will run through all these four prompts step by step as I copy in my logs. So it actually created its own instructions. And I read through them and it made sure it hit on all four of those points. The instructions that created it, it says you're an AI security operations assistant. You always want to tell your tool what persona to assume. You're going to tell it it's going to triage, correlate, and analyze SIEM alerts. You map activity to minor attacks, assess true severity. So that's the role you want this tool to assume. And you give it behavior rules. Never fabricate log data. Don't ever hallucinate, basically. And you keep going. What's the workflow? First, you need alert intake. If I went over there and I'll show you, and I didn't copy any logs, and I just hit the process, it's going to ask you to copy in the logs, and I'll show you that. Recommended, ask. Environment type, cloud on-prem, role of affected system. So if it doesn't have that information, it's going to ask you that. Initial analysis. Here's the steps that I want it to take. Enrichment request. Do you have any more correlating logs? So as you can see, it's pretty extensive instructions to do what we just walked through. But again, it's out there in the GPT store if you want to give it a try. So now, if I open up that tool and I just hit, I don't want to use voice, I just want to use new chat. And I don't type anything, I just hit enter. My chat session is not cooperating with me today. That's okay. We can get through this. I don't know. Triage. Okay, I'm just going to type in triage. So it says understood. Step one, alert intake. So it's going to tell you provide the following required fields before analysis. So now it's waiting for the intake. So you either can just copy the log right in, or it's going to tell you exactly what to do. That is our live demo, but please stick around. Don't just dump out now after the live demo. Hold on just a second. I'm going to get rid of this. Okay, so the risk containment principles. You really need to know when AI should not act autonomously and when AI should. So remember what I said, the promise of agentic AI is speed and scale. But speed without appropriate guardrails create new risk. The guardrails are the humans. Not every response action should be automated, and understanding those boundaries is critical to your success. There are three scenarios here on the screen that illustrate why restraint matters. Number one is business impact. AI detects anomalous database queries from your ERP system and suggests isolating it. The system is processing month-end close. Automation without business context causes financial reporting delays. You don't want your AI automatically shutting off your financial program. It needs human discernment. Then you've got legal implications. AI identifies potential data exploitation and recommends employee account suspension. The employee is union represented, and premature action without proper documentation creates legal exposure. So if you're in a shop that has union workers, there are certain rules that you can and cannot do without proper documentation and steps. So you don't want an automated AI taking action, or it may create you a legal issue. False positive cascades. AI may misclassify legitimate security testing as an attack and automatically block the penetration testing's vendor's IP range, disrupting a scheduled compliance assessment. These aren't hypothetical edge cases, they're real scenarios from enterprise SOCs. The solution, remember this, the solution isn't to avoid AI automation, but to design systems with appropriate approval gates. You are the approval gate. Reversibility considerations. Can my actions through AI be reversed? And clear escalation paths. You should already know your escalation paths. It should be determined in your company, but the AI may not know it or may guess at it. So here's the automation spectrum. Security response actions exist on a spectrum from fully automated to requiring human judgment at every step. Successful agentic AI implementation means thoughtfully placing each action type in the right category based on risk, reversibility, and business impact. Fully automatic. Block malicious IP domains from threat intel. Quarantine files matching malware. Enrich alerts with threat intelligence. Generate preliminary incident reports. Isolate confirmed compromised endpoints. I used a product that we subscribed to that would watch our incoming email domain. It already had predefined block IPs and email domains based on their global database, and it would sync to my tool, and then my tool would take that to our Microsoft and would automatically block those domains based on the global database. That is okay. Now, there was sometimes maybe somebody says, hey, I'm not getting an email from such and such. Well, you can always go in there and look and then adjust the rules appropriately. Auto, but notify. So the automatic's doing that in the back end. It's not notifying you. It's not asking for permission. It's just doing it. Auto plus notify. Isolate non-critical compromised systems. Revoke compromised OAuth tokens. Kill suspicious processes on workstations. Block newly identified C2 infrastructure. So you want to do automatic, but you also want to notify your SOC. So this requires approval. The next step, isolate VIP or executive systems, disable user accounts, especially privileged, network-wide policy changes, actions affecting critical business systems. That requires approval for action. Humans only. So the top three are either automatic, AI partnership, or requires approval. These right here are human only. AI should not be doing this for you at all. Breach disclosure decisions. Do you or are you required by a regulation to notify that your company had a breach? And at what level do you notify? Legal and regulatory actions. AI does not take a place of your legal counsel. External communications with customers. Relationships are the currency to business. Do not send an automated AI generated message to your customers that you had a breach or even a mailer. Pick up the phone, personally go visit them. Even if you're a global scale technology like Zoom, get on a call with them and explain what exactly happened. That personal touch may save that PR mess if you just blast it out, especially if the news media gets hold of it. Business impact and continuity calls. Sorry, you got to continue having calls, checking up. Maybe your executive team's in another state or another country. Your organization's placement of actions across the spectrum will differ based on risk tolerance, your regulatory requirements, operational maturity. The key is making these decisions before an incident. This needs to be decided. Don't try to build it or decide it during the incident. A time to have a fire extinguisher is before the fire, not running out of Lowe's or your hardware store to get one while the fire is taking place. Documenting stuff clearly and adjusting based on observed outcomes. If you should have an incident, hopefully you're prepared and this helps and you get through it, but do a post-mortem triage or a root cause analysis and get that identified. Is there anything we need to change for the next incident? Because they're not isolated. You're not going to only have one and you're done. Many companies, once they're compromised, are now a target and may have several. Okay, 3 criteria for AI autonomy. So how do you decide which response actions AI should handle autonomously versus which require human approval? There are 3 questions that provide a practical framework for making that constant, defensible decisions about automation boundaries. Question number 1. Remember I mentioned reversibility? Can we undo it easily? Whatever AI did, can you reverse it? Actions that can be reversed quickly with minimal effort are better candidates for automation. Blocking an IP address takes seconds to undo. Deleting users counts and associated data may be irreversible, or it may take longer if you have backups. But blocking an IP, block it. Okay, that affected something, unblock it. But deleting a user's account and their data, that takes it a little bit further. Okay, what's the blast radius? Who gets affected? Who gets affected if AI makes the wrong decision? Consider the scope of impact. Isolating a single workstation affects one user. Disabling a tenant-wide authentication affects the entire organization. If you go into your Microsoft Azure or Entra and you disable the tenant-wide authentication, nobody's going to get logged into your company. That seems a little extreme if it's isolated to one user. Broader impact demands higher approval thresholds. Okay, what's the confidence level? How certain is the AI? And that's up to the human to decide. How certain and how confident are you in that AI answer? AI should express confidence scores. High confidence detects based on clear indicators of compromise can trigger automated action. Lower confidence detections based on behavioral anomalies should escalate for human review. So here's an example. Safe for automation. Your action, block malicious IP address. Reversible, yes, easily done in seconds. Blast radius, narrow, specific threat. Confidence, 95% match on known IOC. It's okay to automate this step. Example of requires human review. Disable domain admin account. Bad day if you do that by accident. Reversible, complex restoration process. Blast radius, affects critical operations. You're down. Confidence, 60% behavioral anomaly. This needs to be an escalation for approval. A human actually needs to decide, are we disabling the domain account or changing the domain account's password, not AI. Let's talk about when AI gets it wrong. Yes, it's a tool. It can get it wrong for many reasons, but let's talk about 3. There's no AI system that achieves perfect accuracy. Understanding the types of errors agentic AI can make in their business concept helps you design systems that fail gracefully and maintain analyst trust even when mistakes do occur. False positives. What happens? AI incorrectly identifies legitimate activity as malicious and takes containment action. An example, isolating a developer workstation running security testing tools. Cost, productivity loss, user frustration, SOC credibility damage, crying wolf effect that erodes trust. What about your false negatives? AI dismisses a genuine threat as low priority. A lot of compromises happens at the low priority. People dismiss it, even humans. That's a low priority. But that low priority is sit there and wait. And later it may become a high priority. So don't ignore your low priorities. Example, novel phishing technique bypasses detection models. Cost, a potential breach later on. It may be just knocking on the door right now, but it's going to blast through your door later. Extended attacker dwell time, larger incident scope, increased recovery cost. What about an incorrect scope? What happens? AI correlates and identifies a threat, but misjudges its scope. Here's the example. Identifying 2 affected hosts when a lateral movement has actually reached 5 systems. The cost? Incomplete containment, attacker persistence in overlooked systems, false sense of security, reoccurring incidents. You really haven't contained the problem and they keep happening, building frustration. The answer isn't to distrust AI or avoid automation in its entirety. It's to design systems that fail gracefully. It's going to make a mistake. It's a machine. It's a digital machine. Machines eventually break down and fail. With clear audit trails, easily reversibility, human oversight at critical junctions, feedback loops that improve accuracy over time. And mature SOC teams track these error types. They analyze their root causes and continuously tune their automation boundaries. They build assumed breach mentality into their AI systems, designing for resilience when errors occur rather than hoping for perfection. There is no perfect system, and hope is not a strategy. So you really need to fine tune your tool, and you also need to fine tune your SOC team as well. What to do today? When you leave this seminar, one, you can go out to ChatGPT and find that Steam triage tool that I built. But here's some things you can do today. You're convinced that agentic AI has potential, but where do you start? Here are 3 practical steps that will move you from concept to value delivery without overwhelming your team or risking your security posture. Start small. Don't go after your whole EDR or your whole SIEM logs. Just start small. Pick one high volume, low risk use case to prove value before expanding. Do you have an old SIEM log that was an incident? Pass that through the tool and see what it would have done then and see if it will help you redefine your tools. Alert triage is ideal. It's time consuming for analysis, has clear success metrics. Avoid the temptation to automate everything at once. Build confidence small, then move into the big systems. So what's your success look like in this step? A 40% reduction in time to triage, documented and announced time savings, and measurable accuracy improvements over 30 days. I said start small. Take 30 days to do the small step. Next, require your explainability. Don't deploy AI systems that can't articulate their reasoning. If it can't explain what it's doing, you're not going to be able to explain what your tool did. Black box models might be accurate, but they're impossible to validate, audit, troubleshoot, or improve. Demand confidence scores, evidence trails, and plain language explanations. If a vendor sells you a black box model and cannot do any of that, pick a new vendor or new solution. It'll get you in trouble. Success looks like analysts can review AI reasoning under 2 minutes, validate conclusions against source data, and provide feedback that improves future performance. Number 3, define your boundaries now before you turn this on. Decide what requires human approval before you are in the middle of a live incident. Involve your executive team, your legal counsel, department heads. Do it before. Document your automation spectrum clearly. Get stakeholder buy-in from legal, compliance, business units. If you don't have buy-in, it's going to fail. Success looks like a written policy covering the 4 automation tiers, approval workflows for escalations, regular review cadence with leadership, incident playbooks that reference AI capabilities. And remember this keynote: The goal isn't to replace your analyst, and you will not replace your analyst. It's to multiply their effectiveness. AI is an amplification tool. Agentic AI handles the repetitive correlation and documentation work that burns out talent security professionals. This should free them up for the strategic thinking and business context that only humans can provide. I appreciate you guys sticking through this and joining me in the last 46 minutes with the live demo and with my presentation. If you have any questions, I'm going to turn it over back to Simran and she'll go through the chats and see if there's any questions. If you'd like to connect with me, here's the QR code. You can scan it. It'll take you to that LinkedIn profile of my linked. And again, my name is Trevor Wiseman, VP of Technology and AI Governance. I'm also GSDC Technical Advisory Board member. Thank you for your time. Remember, the future of security operations isn't about replacing your human experience. It's about amplifying it with intelligent systems that handle what you do best so your team can focus on what only humans can do. Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you so much, Trevor, for this wonderful and incredible session. And the demo was incredible. I'm sure the participants have loved it. And we do have a few questions that I will be reading out. The first question for you is Madhu Sudana has asked, can agentic AI be used for penetration testing?
That is beyond my scope. Most successful pen testing that I have done still takes majority of it human interaction. Now, I believe AI has some tools out there that will help do the analysis, but it still takes majority of the human to do the pen testing itself.
Sure, thank you so much, Trevor. I think Madhu has her question answered. So, second question from Yasser Beg is, do you know any good source for getting study for quantum computing? If you do, please tell me a good resource.
That is outside the scope of this call. I read up and I do some quantum computing knowledge, but I'm not versed enough to tell you go here for training. That's something you might ask GSDC if they have anything, but quantum is so new right now. It's really meant for bigger um, collegiate and research firms right now that I don't think there's anything I can recommend saying go here for quantum training.
All right, thank you so much, Trevor. I think yes, I got her answer as well. Advait had a few questions. He has asked that how can we prevent our organizations or AI agents to join or share the data in Maltbook?
Share our data in what was the last part of that?
Moltbook, Moltbook.
I'm not familiar with Motebook, but going back to the question on how do you prevent, that's where that explainability and visibility of what it's doing and your ability to reverse it is key.
Well, thank you so much, Trevor. I'll just share one last question that we have, and I apologize to all our participants because we're running out of time, but I will definitely share Trevor's LinkedIn profile for you so you can get in touch with it and help him. One last question, Trevor. How can we design guardrails for an agentic AI operating in a business environment?
That's an excellent question. There are resources. The NIST AI RMF builds an excellent framework that you can walk through with your company. If you're governed by the EU AI Act, it also has some governance. But as I stated toward my last of my slides, is you need to get buy-in. So you need to get your business units, your executive team, and your legal counsel, and you needed to figure out one thing is you need to discover what AI is being used and what is being used agentically or automated. And then for your organization, you need to build those guardrails based on your industry. What's the criticality of if something goes wrong? and then what steps to take if it goes wrong, and then build those guardrails for your agentic based on policies and also user training. Make sure your users are aware that these guardrails exist. That way you can cut down on what I call shadow AI, which are users using AI without your company's knowledge.
All right. Thank you so much, Trevor. I completely resonate with the presentation that you shared, that AI is an amplification tool. And lastly, thank you so much, participants, for your questions. I'm really sorry we cannot take any more questions. We're running out of time. I'm going to share Trevor's LinkedIn profile so you can please get in touch with him, and I'm sure he'll be happy to share his insights there as well. Okay, moving on. For today's challenge, you have this snapshot in front of your screen. You can definitely take a screenshot of it, complete this challenge, and tag GSDC and Trevor. So when you win this, we have a surprise voucher coming your way towards the end. I will reveal it. All right, allow me a moment. And if you're thinking about getting certified into our AI implementation series, we do have these many certificates that are certified generative AI professional certification, certified generative AI foundation certification, agentic AI certification, and many more on the screen. Please make sure you use the promo code AI20 to get 20% off on these certifications. And please make sure you grab these certification as fast as you can because these are only limited period offers. So make your advantage of it as soon as you can. Alongside GSDC AI Studio, we also have a skill utility platform coming your way, and you can use the code AUG100 to get 100% off this skill utility platform as well, where you will be able to get AI generated resumes, check your LinkedIn scores, build skills that actually help you upskill and level up your skills in the market. And definitely you can use this with the AAUG100 code and get a full cycle of how this tool works. And now we also have a Women's Day special coming up with women leading the AI-powered enterprise panel discussion, learning leadership from 2nd to 6th of March in under these time zones. So wherever you're based off, you can definitely join us there. If you're an ISO Advantage enthusiast, you can also register for our upcoming webinar happening from 16th to 20th Feb under these time zones as well. And whenever you're based, you can definitely check these out and register. I will also share the links in the chat box, so please make sure you register. Similarly, we have a learning and development webinar as well from 16th to 20th February under these time zones. So do not forget to register for this as well. Now it's time to announce our referral champions. Thank you so much for spreading our awareness, and congratulations to Leela Venkatesh, Suman Kumar, and Saroj Sahu. Thank you for spreading awareness and keep the momentum going. We would also love to connect with you on LinkedIn, so you can scan our LinkedIn QR code, follow us there. We also have a WhatsApp QR code channel where we share latest updates on our upcoming webinars and become a part of community. So thank you so much. You can also give your session takeaways on reviews.io. We would be happy to take your feedbacks and improve our webinars and events in the coming future. If you're looking forward to become our featured global speaker, then please do not forget to get in touch with Preetham@gsdccouncil.org or Pratibha@gsdccouncil.org. We would love to have you as our knowledge advisor. I have shared the links in the chat box, so please make sure you reach out to them. Lastly, that is the end of today's session. Thank you so much, Trevor, for your incredible insights. We are thrilled to have you, and I'm sure a lot of participants are going to connect with you on LinkedIn since they had a lot of questions. Also, deepest apologies for not able to take certain questions as we're running out of time. A big thank you to all our participants. Keep learning, keep engaging, and we look forward to having you in our upcoming sessions. Thank you so much. Have a good day or good night whenever you're based. I will look forward to hosting these sessions and having you as our participants from GSDC. Thank you.
Thank you, Samran. Have a good evening, everybody.
You too, Trevor. Thank you so much.